Hey everyone, I am Anne-Marie from Hella Basque and welcome to the Hella Basque YouTube channel where every week I am talking about different things having to do with the Basque Country. Today's video, I am celebrating 1 year on YouTube. March 2019, 1 year ago, I started the Hella Basque YouTube channel with no idea how this was gonna go, so I really appreciate you guys being here. We're at over 1,700 subscribers right now from 0 last year, and I think over 65,000 views this year, which is insane. I've made a video a week for the past year, so it's been crazy. So today I wanted to talk about what is Hella Basque, how it started, if you guys have been following for years or if you just joined in yesterday, today, hello, welcome. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Hella Basque, what it is, how it started, if any of you guys were ever curious about what even is this project. I'll tell you about it in this video. But first, I just want to mention, hello, it is March 2020, and the world's a little bit in chaos right now, so I just want to send out some love to the Basque Country itself, people who are under quarantine right now because of the coronavirus pandemic. I'm following your guys' stuff on social media. It looks rough. People stuck in their homes, not being able to go out, but hopefully this video will provide a few minutes of entertainment or escapism, and hopefully we'll all get through this together as a global community sooner rather than later. I'm in San Francisco Bay Area in California right now. We are on day 2 of an order to shelter in place, which basically means we all need to stay home unless going to the grocery store or buying medicine or something. It's not an absolute quarantine yet, but I'm kind of nervous that we're headed in that direction. So I feel you, I see you, and thank you for tuning into the Hella Basque YouTube channel. So that aside, let's get into what is Hella Basque, how did it start, what even is this? So I've been on the internet, since I got a computer, obviously. I think it was 2001. And so my whole life, I've kind of been writing things on the internet. I love to write. It started with private blogs online that I hope nobody ever sees because it's really embarrassing, things from high school that I used to post. But back in 2013, I started a blog called Hella Basque. So yeah, 7 years ago. Time flies. So started as a blog. How did Hella Basque start as a blog? Basically, ever since podcasting became a thing, I've wanted to have a podcast. I still do want to have a podcast, but dude, time. And so back in 2013, I went to a live taping of a podcast here in the US called Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. And it's basically a conversational podcast between director Kevin Smith and his buddy, actor, comedian Jason Mewes. And to this day, I don't listen to this podcast. I didn't when I bought tickets to see their live taping. I'm just a really big fan of Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes in general. So I went because they were coming to San Francisco. And it was really cool to see the live taping of the podcast, and we were in this big theater. And what I really took away from it was Kevin Smith really went on a whole rant about how easy it is to start a podcast, how wonderful of an opportunity it is on the internet to have a podcast, how it's free, and how literally all he does is have a conversation with his buddy for an hour every week, and that's their podcast. And everybody in the room could do the same thing with their friends. And I was really inspired at the end of it. I was like, dude, yeah, this is the time. We're going to start a podcast. But I was like, I need someone to do this with me because I don't know what I'm doing with a podcast. And who's going to listen to me talk for an hour? That's boring. So I reached out to my friend Erica. Shout out to Erica, who I grew up in the Basque community with. She did student radio in college, and so I was like, she's the perfect person. Let's sit down and have conversations about the Basque Country, because my whole life, her whole life, we all grew up in this really tight-knit Basque community here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Even though we're super American, every weekend I was going to Basque folk dancing classes. We were going to Basque American picnics, dinners, festivals, all over the United States, not just San Francisco and California. I was going to Udaleku Basque Summer Camp as a kid, which is like 2 weeks that the North American Basque Organizations puts on, where they pretty much indoctrinate you and teach you like, what is the Basque Country and what does it mean to be Basque? We learned Basque dancing, singing, sports, card games, like the whole thing. And so I was like, if we're going to start a podcast, it's got to be about the Basque Country. Like that's one thing that I felt confident that I could talk about pretty extensively. Not that I'm like an expert or anything, but it's something that I've known about vaguely, Basque culture, for my whole life. So I was like, okay, we're going to start a podcast. Let's do it. Erica was down. But our schedules weren't matching up. And so like trying to figure out recording equipment, like a format, like a planning session, it wasn't the easiest to schedule because we were all busy. So I started Googling. I was like, what can I do personally to get this podcast program off the ground? So I was Googling how to promote a podcast, and they recommended having a blog because that way you could have written articles that the search engines would pick up. And then if you link to your podcast from your blog post, then people could find your podcast. So I was like, okay, as an individual, I can at the very least start a website for us, a blog, somewhere to like host our podcast once we eventually record it. And so I sat down on my computer, I went on WordPress, and I started a blog, and it asked me what I was going to call the blog. And I thought about it for, I think, 30 seconds, and I came on Hella Basque, and I thought that would be funny. Because if you don't know, Hella is slang here in Northern California, and it basically is a word that means like very, really, a lot, based on the context. But Hella Basque together just means like very Basque, super Basque, ultra Basque. It's like kind of a braggy way of saying like I'm Basque, like I'm hella Basque. It's like for emphasis. And so I thought it was funny. It's like, okay. Well, I'll just put that down there because I'll talk to Erica and we'll figure out something later down the line. And then we never did. I wrote a first blog post just, to have something on the website since I started one. I think my first blog post was about like how to prepare for a Basque American festival, like what to bring, and it was like a list. I posted it on my Facebook page just to get the ball rolling. People liked it. People started commenting on it. I was like, oh, that's terrifying. People were responding to my content. And I think from there it was a good feeling. I liked it. So I started writing more blog posts on this Hella Basque WordPress site, until we could coordinate our schedules for the podcast, right? To the point where I was writing a blog post like every day on different Basque topics, and I was posting them on my Facebook page, but then I was like, I feel like I'm probably spamming people. Like I have friends from school who probably don't care about this. So I looked up like how to promote a blog, and it recommended creating a Facebook page. So I created a designated Facebook page for Hella Basque. You can still visit it today. It's linked in the description. I set that up so that way I could post my blog posts on Facebook and not bother all of my friends and family. And it started getting likes. Like I thought it would just be my mom and my friends, but like people I didn't know, strangers, started liking the Facebook page. I got to like 100 likes on Facebook and I was like freaking out. I was like, Mom, who are these people? It was so surreal and so cool to see that like people that I didn't know were interested in Basque topics like this. They were out there and they were interested. So from there, I kind of just, I abandoned the podcast idea. Well, not entirely, but I stopped, following up with Erica, and I was like so focused on building this blog that I just ran with it. So I grew it from a free WordPress site for a few months, and then I decided to get my own hosted WordPress site. I invested some money. I bought a domain. And so for a good year, almost 2 years, I was writing on Hella Basque's blog like every day. I don't know what it was. It was like some untapped font of creativity just like lived within me that I didn't know was there. And so it was like floodgates were open. I had so much to say about the Basque community, about Basque culture. A lot of it was like very personal and like through my experiences, like going to Basque festivals, Basque parties, my opinions about Basque culture. And so that was going pretty strong for a few years until I want to say like 2015 was a weird year. I hated my job that I was working. So I quit my job. I went traveling for a few months. At the end of that, so the blog was kind of on hiatus because I was like having fun. And then I came back and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a job tour guiding in Europe because I didn't want the traveling to stop. So I did that. I was tour guiding in Europe in 2016, and then I decided to stay in London, do a master's program for a year. So I was in Europe kind of off and on for a good 2 years. And it didn't feel, I wasn't motivated, I wasn't connected to Hella Basque. It didn't feel right to keep the blog going because a lot of what I was writing was about like me going to Basque festivals, going to Basque events, being part of this Basque community in the United States. And in Europe, I wasn't part of any of that. And so I wasn't inspired at all. So the blog was on a break. And then the fall of 2016, my uncle passed away. I came home and I was just like in a weird headspace. Like honestly, I was depressed and everything was negative. And so like I looked at Hella Basque. I like was really down on myself for the fact that I wasn't posting consistently like I used to. I was really down on the fact that like I was getting some negative comments. Like that was my first time like getting pushback on the internet. And I wasn't proud of my work. It was like mentally I was just out. I was checked out of Hella Basque. So I let it go. I stopped paying for the website. I stopped paying for the domain. So the website shut down. I didn't save any of what I wrote for those 2 years because I hated it. I just wanted it gone. Now, 2020, I regret that. Like there was some good stuff on there. But in my depressed mindset, I was like, nah, it's got to be done. So I shut it down. So now the original domain was hellabasque.com. Now if you go visit that, I don't advise that you do because very quickly a robot bought the domain because it was getting consistent traffic. So some bot got the domain, and now if you go on the site, it's nothing but ads. And I'm sorry about that. That's not me. That's someone else. And so I shut it down. I was living my life in London, doing my own thing. And at the end of my year in London, I want to say like end of 2017, I decided to move back to California. And even when I was in London, like once I started feeling better, mentally, emotionally, I regretted letting go of Hella Basque and all of that work I'd put into it. I regretted like not seeing it through. I felt like it still had a lot of potential. Like I could have done so much more with it. And so I just felt like there was something missing in my life. That Hella Basque used to fill, like this whole void of creativity maybe that I felt. I really enjoyed researching and looking up topics and writing things and editing, and so I just felt like there was something missing. So I had this idea that like maybe I should bring back the blog, but I also wasn't sure I was ready for like it's a huge time commitment for like no money, no reward financially, and was I ready for all the negative comments to come back? So I moved home. I was hemming and hawing, talking about it with my family. And they were like, dude, just shut up and do it. But I was scared. It was going to take a lot of work. And so 2018, I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it needs to happen. 2018 Memorial Day weekend, I went to the Basque Festival in Bakersfield, California. And I saw people I hadn't seen in years because I had been in Europe. And a lot of people were like, hey, Hella Basque, what happened to that? That was great. We loved it. You need to bring it back. Bring it back. And so I think that was like the validation that I needed. Thanks, guys, for the encouragement. And my sister really pushed me, and she was like, set a deadline, just do it. So I set a deadline for the end of June 2018 to restart a website, restart the blog. I think it was like a poetic decision. It was nearly... I can't do math. It was nearly 5 years after the date of when I originally started the blog. So I set a date, I did it, I built a website, I bought a new domain, hellabasque.org. Not as flashy as the first one, but it was better than nothing. So I restarted this website, retaught myself how to do websites. I'm not very good at it, but so I launched. I was super nervous about it, but I did it. And I committed to blogging once a week, because I felt like that was more manageable than like every day. So I did that. I got back in the swing of it. Okay, I got my confidence back a little bit. There were people out there who were happy Hella Basque was back. They still cared. There was still an audience. So thank you guys for sticking with it, seeing me through. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, we got to go bigger. Like, blogs are so like 2006. The days of people reading blogs consistently are like pretty gone, with the explosion of social media and video formats, podcasting. And so I knew that if I wanted to reach more people, I would need a bigger platform. And this time around, when I restarted Hella Basque, I really wanted to do it like less for myself, less from like a personal perspective, and more from like a place of trying to help people who may not have resources to join Basque communities or know much about Basque culture, to help people connect with that. Because when I was living in Europe, I felt super disconnected from the Basque country, even though it was like super close. But I felt disconnected from Basque culture, my Basque family, a Basque community, all of that. And so I wanted there to be a place online for people who felt like I did when I was in London, to go and find some sort of Basque online community. So I really wanted to come from a place of helping other people and bringing value. And so I knew that just having a blog in some dark corner of the internet wasn't going to be enough. So I was like, okay, let's choose. Are we going to go podcasting or YouTube? Podcasting was the original love, the original dream. But I decided to go with YouTube in the end. I mean, I would love to do podcast in the future. Who knows? But for now, I was like, if I'm going to commit the time to learning a whole new format of being, it had to be YouTube, because video is so prevalent. And whenever I would go to YouTube to search for like things about the Basque country, there was very, very little in English, and I felt like there needed to be someone on the platform to like share information if people were looking for that. There was some great like travel style videos, documentaries, vlogs on YouTube in English. They're still there. They're great. There was some like reportage. Is that the word? Reports of like Basque festivals and Basque events in English, and those are great. But I felt like there wasn't anyone like explaining stuff about the Basque country, like me and you, like, let me tell you about it. So I decided that I was going to be that person. And I'll tell you, I sat on this idea for months, because it's easy to kind of hide behind a blog. Like, sure, it was my words, and I was writing about my life, and I was posting the occasional picture of myself and my dad on Instagram. But like there's no hiding on YouTube. Like, this is my face, this is my voice, take it or leave it. Like, this is me. Which still like doesn't make me 100% comfortable, but I've gotten used to it. And learning editing software was a huge hurdle for me. Like, I'd never edited videos. It was a steep learning curve. And just sitting in front of your computer for hours, watching yourself and listening to yourself and analyzing like every weird facial expression you make. And it is a humbling experience, guys. It is not for the faint of heart. And then on top of it, I knew that YouTube comments can be real vicious. Like, I know that that's a whole other level of negativity and arguing and insults and people telling you you're ugly. And so it took me a few months to like brace myself for this new realm. And finally, again, my sister was like, dude, just do it, set a date. And so I started recording videos and editing videos and set a launch date. So that was March 2019, a year ago. I committed to posting one video a week about different Basque topics. Since that, like I said, we've grown to over 1,700 subscribers, more than 60,000 views. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's gotten much easier, but the negativity and the hate did come. It still continues to come. A lot of people, believe it or not, have a problem with my nose ring. Mostly dudes, from what I can tell. Dudes on the internet are very angry about the ring in my nose. But I think I'm older, wiser. I have more experience now. I think I can handle it. Because at the end of the day, that's their problem and not mine. I'm just here to spread a message about the Basque country, Basque culture, and just really celebrate everything that involves. And if people can only see my nose ring, well, then clearly this is not the YouTube channel for them. Do you know what I mean? So thank you so much for watching and subscribing, hopefully, to the Hella Basque YouTube channel so you can see all of our videos. But I'm really excited how this YouTube journey has been going so far. It's growing. Clearly, there was a void on YouTube, and so I'm happy that I can try to fill it in some way, and hopefully I'm bringing you guys some value. Where does Hella Basque go from here? I have no idea. Especially now with coronavirus, like, it's very uncertain times in the world. I feel like any sort of dream of monetizing Hella Basque is really dead. I've been like selling merch and stuff, but guys, it's not like a huge operation. It helps me like pay for the website and pay for like my editing software for YouTube videos, and I really appreciate that. If you want to buy some Hella Basque merch, the shop link is in the bio. But it's not a big money-making operation. This is still a total like hobby thing. And I feel like now with the economy crashing, like influencer marketing, I think is going to take a dip. So I'm not feeling too confident about the future right now, but so I can't tell you like I have any big plans in the works. Right now I'm just trying to maintain what we got going here, 1 video a week, and see how that goes. But ultimately, sure, I would love to start a podcast, but that's rough. So if anybody out there is watching this and like wants to start a Basque culture podcast, like with me, like cool, send me an email, annemarie@hellabasque.org, or like start your own podcast. Like please do it, and I'd be happy to promote it, because I think that's something that would be really useful to have in English, because there's a lot of great stuff about the Basque country online in Basque, some good stuff online about the Basque country in Spanish and French, but I think it's really cool to have some English out there, because there's a lot of us over here in the English-speaking countries who are becoming more aware of our ancestry and things like that, and there's more of you guys in the Basque country and even Spanish-speaking Basque diaspora who understand English. So hi, I'm so glad you guys are here watching too. That's a very long way of telling you kind of the evolution of Hella Basque and my journey with it for the last almost 7 years. So here's to another 7 years, I hope. Don't know what form it's going to take, but it's been a really interesting journey so far, and I really appreciate you guys being here, because Hella Basque, like, I would not be doing this if there weren't people vaguely interested in these topics that I'm talking about and writing about. So thanks for being here. If you want to show some love in the comments, like this video, like just, it's always nice to get some encouragement, because this is like a very kind of, you see me alone. It's kind of a lonely process a lot of the times. Just me and my camera, or me and my computer, or my phone. Like, so it's really cool to read what you guys have to say. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for being here. Subscribe to the Hella Basque YouTube channel if you have not already, if you want to be a part of this journey and follow it wherever it goes. And I think that's more like personal stuff I've shared on this channel at all. Like, I haven't really gone that deep into my life and how it's evolved. But there you go. If any of you found that interesting, great. If not, well, I figure if you're still watching, you found this interesting. All right, this is basically, I need to end this. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video next week. Stay safe out there, stay healthy, look out for each other, and yeah, stick around for the Hella Basque community. We need you. I need you. Okay, bye.